Hey guys, this is TechX, and today we're going to be working on a small project called a pop boat. And if you know what these are, we're going to take a new spin on it and see if we can actually 3D print one. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so I know I've been away for a while, and I'm sorry about that. I've got a couple other side ventures that I'm trying to work on, and I really did not mean to neglect you guys with the videos. It's fairly hard to produce a good video. I just don't want to put out like crap videos at all. So hopefully this will be a good video today. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a pop boat, and if you have, then you can kind of skip ahead if you'd like. But this is a pretty interesting concept. It's very simple by using a heat source, which is our little tea light candle here, and we put it inside a little boat, and it heats up water in a boiler, and that's going to then or it's going to expel a hot jet of water outwards, and it's going to also at the same time take in water to refill the boiler. So, here's the video of the guy I got the idea from.
Today, we're going to be looking at pop boats. Now, I've explored these in previous videos, but today's video is going to be a little different. We're going to be looking at making a pop boat out of a pop can. But for now, I'm just going to give everybody a quick intro to what a pop boat is.
And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. And I was like, oh man, I want to see if I can 3D print this. So I actually found some people who had made the video, or excuse me, had made the files, and for the 3D printed parts, and I will put those down in the description if you want to print those yourselves. There are some parts that are not 3D printable, which I'm going to get in the parts in just a second. So you do have to get some straws. You have to print two main parts, get some straws, and then I'd say the most uncommon thing is some epoxy. But a lot of people have that, especially if you're 3D printing. So the first main thing, the largest thing that you're going to have to be printing is this hole here. So this is where the candle's going to go in, right in the center, and then that's going to be right underneath the boiler. This is the 3D printed boiler part. And this is printed. This hole is printed in a PLA, a silver hatchbox PLA, and this is printed in a black PETG. I don't know the exact company name because it was given to me as a gift. I don't think they have their brand labeled on there at all. But this is just a PETG because it's a high temperature, high strength part, especially if we're going to be having boiling water running through here. I'd just rather use something else. You could probably use ABS as well. So we've got our candle. We've got the boiler top, and then you're going to need two coins. You can use washers, coins, or whatever. These are two nickels. So if you live in the US, there you go, two nickels. They just slip right in the back here. And then you're going to need your straws. And these were the hardest part to find because I believe the designs on Thingiverse specify that they need to be 5 millimeters. These two holes need to be 5 millimeters. And on the readout, it looks to be about 4-ish millimeters. 4.5 millimeters maybe. And these guys are, let's say something like 7 millimeters. So those are too big. Those are fairly large straws. And then we've got these coffee stirrers, which are too small. They're something like 2 millimeters. Yeah, so they're a little too small. And you can fill it up with epoxy, but it's not bendable, so those probably won't work too well. And they do have to be this bendable, and this like flexible part up here, because if they're not going to fold too well. And I'll explain that a little bit more in the future. Then I found these more generic straws, and yet these are still too big, coming in at, I believe, 6 millimeters. Yeah, so we still got to shave 2 millimeters off. And so that's gonna be the fun part. So that's something that I found was kind of hard and kind of challenging to get. So we'll put those off to the side, see if we need those later. But I'm going to use these. These are the just thinner the straws, thinner blue straws. Okay, so The hardest part to start with is probably making the boiler. And this boiler isn't just going to stay like this. This isn't. There's no way to contain the water. So we do need some epoxy, and then we're also going to need a little bit of aluminum foil. And you can probably use this is a Loctite marine epoxy, just supposed to be waterproof. You can probably use some aluminum can if you need to, but I would recommend using some aluminum foil right here. And yeah, it wasn't in the parts, everything. It wasn't in all the products you're gonna need, but it's just something most people have laying around. So let's start off by sanding down. Just gonna speed this part up because it's kind of boring. Um, Going to sand this ring around here a little bit just to make the epoxy stick a little better, and then going to rough up the foil, glue it right on top, and then wait for that to dry, and then just going to cut that out. So let's show you a quick time lapse of that. Okay, so as I was building this, I realized the sandpaper doesn't work too well on the foil. So yeah, probably just gonna try it without. Might need to still rough it up a little bit. Sanding down the part here just to make it a little bit smoother, but then also allow it to grip a little bit better. But then also we're gonna need to drill these holes a little bit bigger. As we were just going through, I was just going through this building here and trying to fit all the parts together and make sure they work. I just realized these are, again, too big to fit through the holes. So what I'm probably going to do is, it's going to be hard to drill through here, so I'm probably going to take this center part out and then drill out. Sorry, just going to probably take this center post out here and then drill all the way out so that's got something to hold on to, and then just glue the straws on that way, and then just going to drill off the side of these holes, and then again going to epoxy those in. So let's just do a quick speed up of that. I'm just going to skip through that because that's going to have to be off camera. So I'll be right back. Okay, so that was kind of interesting. It's actually it worked really well on this. It is a little rough. I ended up using a 1/4 inch drill bit. That just kind of just drilled it out. I was actually able to use the pre-existing holes. Didn't really have to go off too much. The back here is a little rough. Probably take that down with sandpaper or something. Or even just cut off the little parts. Drilling the holes right next to each other right in the center here worked out real nice. It slides in perfectly. Again, it's really going to depend on the straws that you have, but these are fairly generic straws. I don't know why they were so small. The holes were so small. I don't. Might have been my 3D printer. That's always possible. So I'm going to now sand these up, glue this on, epoxy this on, and then put the straws in here so that the entire boiler is all put together, and I'll be right back then. Okay, so I finally got this part done. Definitely gonna have to let it dry. This is not the 5 minute epoxy that you might want to use. This is stuff I already had laying around. I believe this does take about 24 hours to dry. Full cure in about 20 to 24 hours. Sets in about 40 to 50 minutes. So I will be back, and it's gonna be a short wait for you guys, if anything. And we'll continue building. Okay, guys, so I know I was going ahead and building this, and I finished up the boiler, and I had to add quite a bit of epoxy, and you'll notice that it's burned a little bit on the bottom. That's because, yeah, I had to test it. I just wanted to test it before, just to see, make sure it kind of work, test and see if there were any more air holes coming out. And so left it in the water for a couple minutes, and I won't spoil it too much because I'm going to show you the footage real quick. But I left it in the water for a little bit, and it just didn't do much. So here's the footage of the testing real quick. So yeah, I think most of the movement was caused by me trying to make sure the candle didn't go out, so blowing on it, and just the natural movement of the water. Um, so the boiler started working, but I think there were too many, still way too many areas for the water to come out. I just think the part was printed poorly, and so I'm not able to fix this right now. So I think this is gonna have to be like the first like failed video, but I we still learned quite a bit in this, and it was still a really fun project. So just take your time. If you guys go ahead and print this, just take your time. Even the PETG warped quite a bit, so I don't know if there's another material that you want to use out there that is even more heat resistant. Honestly, I would just recommend. I'll link it down in the description. A guy who makes another one, not using any 3D printed parts, but he just kind of describes or shows you how to make a different type of boiler, totally metal. So I'll show you, see if I can hopefully down the line, no guarantees, but hopefully down the line can make an all metal boiler. So that's my goal for the future. But for now, that is just gonna have to be left at a possibly possibly can work, but as of right now, did not work in initial testing phase. So I know I hate to leave you guys on the sad note, but thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like, maybe subscribe if you feel like that. But I'm always going to be around to answer any questions you have, so feel free to leave a question or comment down in the comments. Or if I'm missing anything, feel free to leave some suggestions down there. We're always looking for people to kind of figure out what could have gone better. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.